All right. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. As people roll in, Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Holiday, so I'm not sure who is all going to show up, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to jump on while I have a bit of time. There's a poll on the chat, but before we get to that, make sure you check out. Make sure you vote on the poll before we get started. And I just wanted to also welcome anybody that's watching on the replay. If you aren't able to catch it live, thanks for watching the replay. Always appreciate it. But if you want to join live, I always like to say we go on Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Pacific time to about 8:45. So we're doing the same today, even though it is a holiday, and we'll see who rolls in on a sleepy holiday. Not much planned today for me. I don't know about everybody else. Let me know in the comments. Maybe still nursing a hangover from New Year's. I think I was in bed probably by 9 or 9:30 on New Year's Eve. Not much of a party animal anymore, but Happy New Year to everybody. And thanks for joining in to this is our market prediction for 2023. Obviously markets closed today, but open tomorrow. So we'll get started. Hopefully 2023 is better than 2022. We'll see how that does turn out. So good morning to everybody. Happy New Year. And we'll see who all is here. Terrain, first one in. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. And we've got Nadia here as well. Happy New Year, Nadia. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in on holiday. Hopefully everybody doesn't have to work today. I'm not sure if people are working or not, what the plan is for people. Happy New Year, MC. Welcome. Always good to have you here. As I get a sip of coffee, the coffee crew, as we call it now. So for today planned, I have done on the channel, I did my kind of year-end update of the portfolio. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. It's been posted. It posted it over the weekend. Not a great year, but looking at the averages and everything else, what was happening, I'm happy with it. In terms of my portfolio, obviously everything you want to be in the green. Not the case, but going forward, that's the plan now. Last year is behind us. Now what are we doing, and what are we predicting? What are we doing to move forward in 2023? So on that note, I did post a couple of questions over on the community tab. If you don't follow on the community tab, make sure you do. It's usually put some questions out there. There's usually some pretty good comments as well. So I had asked a couple questions, so we'll go over those and we'll kind of talk about predictions. So as always, if anybody has any predictions, what do they think's happening in 2023, fire them in the comments. It's always good to hear what everybody else is thinking. So this was the first one. I don't think I can scroll up. This might be a bit small to see, but basically I asked, what are your 2023 investing resolutions? So let us know in the comments if you're watching. Now Vic was on there as well, and so he's going to try and make more live streams. So that's a good resolution. My goal on that, Vic, is hopefully Vic, hopefully you can make it. The goal is obviously to continue these as well. Still doing a few changes. Obviously, the background's still white, but there's some changes coming from the live stream. Still waiting on a little bit of stuff coming from Amazon still. So that's my resolution a bit with the channel, is to up the production a little bit, and we'll carry on into the new year. But hopefully, Vic, and if you're watching this on the replay, Vic, or if you end up tuning in live, hopefully you can make more. That's always good. And then we had a window. I love these names that people have on YouTube, but Window Liquor is make principal payments on their mortgage while the portfolio burns. So not a bad idea to pay off any kind of debt. Obviously, mortgage is debt, and with rates increasing, not a bad idea. Making any kind of extra payments that you can on any kind of outstanding debts is never a bad thing. And so hopefully, Window Liquor, hopefully you can do that. That makes some sense. And then DSAR Live wants to put them DSAR Live from American. So obviously this doesn't necessarily apply to us. 401k is like their RSP. He wants to put the maximum into their 401k, and in 2023 pay off unsecured debt. So much the same line. So I think a lot of people are maybe thinking of paying off debt. That's always a good thing to do. Nothing wrong with paying off debt if you're able to. That's for sure. Especially if you're considering if it's like high interest debt or something like that, like credit card debt, 18%, 19%, depending. I mean, you can't get that in the market. Didn't get that in the market, so not a bad idea to fire off extra funds there if you can, for sure. And Abigail's here. Abigail Bailey, welcome. Hi there. Nice to have you. Always good. Always good. So let us know if your resolutions match up with those, or what your plan is for your New Year investing resolutions. Down in the comments, always appreciate it. Now, the last thing we had to do, I had shared. I can X this off and share the next one on the community tab. And this is kind of where predictions come in. Let's find this. There it is. So polls are always fun on the channel. Had quite a few people voting, actually 76 votes so far, and this is along the same line as the votes in the channel comments. So if you want to get your last minute vote in and you haven't voted, you can vote in the live stream. I had to leave that other section out because it only gives me 4 choices on live streams, but it's time to look in the crystal ball. Let's see what we're doing here. So where do you predict the best returns will be in 2023? Let us know in the comments, and if they match up with some of the other channel followers. So energy sector 33. I was actually really surprised at this poll that it was so kind of almost evenly split, which I did find interesting. So energy sector 33%, financial sector 28%, healthcare way down, which kind of surprised me a little bit, especially with aging demographics. But again, this is what people are predicting. And then technology sector, this I found a little bit high because obviously technology beaten down big time in the past year. But maybe this is where people are seeing some opportunity. I don't know. We'll have to see what 2023 brings. I've been kind of talking a little bit more and about the energy sector a little bit I was on now Candace on Mountain Finance. I don't think she's in the live stream today, but she did her predictions and she's kind of bullish a bit on energy. I'm kind of getting there. I don't own a ton, like most of my individual stocks of any kind of energy company are renewable. I'm kind of tempted to join the dark side and maybe look up maybe an ETF of some kind. Now I have had energy ETF in I have an unregistered account that I had some energy into this last year. So I'm thinking of probably moving some stuff over into my TFSA. We'll see how that goes. No decisions yet. As everybody kind of knows, I think I'm kind of sticking with my plan of putting, and of course this will cover energy and financials, into VDY. That's a Canadian high dividend yield ETF, the Vanguard one. So I'll be buying one share. I'm going to try, and for the year is to try and buy one share a week of VDY. And that really does cover energy because it's Canadian. There's energy and the financials sector on there. So that's kind of that. Whether I go strictly a bit more into just energy, we'll have to see we'll see how everything pans out. Everything kind of pans out, but that's my plan. So I want to stick to my plan as much as possible, unless there's some opportunity. And maybe in people voting with the technologies, there might be some opportunity for, if things obviously do turn around, with the growth stocks to come back. When that happens, that's the big if. And if we had a crystal ball like on the thumbnail, we'd all be in much better positions. So it's very difficult, I think, to kind of know what's going to actually, how this year is going to pan out. But I'd like to always stay kind of optimistic, and I always like to kind of think, I can only speak for myself, but my investments are very long term. So if there's some opportunity in the next year to build positions in really anything, I think in 10, 15 years, when I plan to hopefully start, I'm about 20 years away from retiring anyways, we'll see we'll obviously see some improvement within 20 years. So that will be hopefully take these this year, next year, maybe as opportunity. That's what I'm hoping to do. And Rod, Happy New Year. Always good to have you here. Thanks for joining in on a holiday kind of day. I think most places are still kind of closed and not working today because of the holiday yesterday. Always throws you off this time of year. It's always like, what are we working? Is it holiday today? But back to reality, I think tomorrow for everybody. All right. And then speaking of, I got 2 more articles on kind of predictions and everything else where people are basically placing their bets. Figured we'd pull up here. Money managers, where they're placing their bets in 2023, and no surprises. Energy. So there's a couple of ETFs I picked out. XEG.TO. This is the one actually I have owned before in an account. So they're putting their bets on the best performing subsector of the TSX. They did really well in 2022. They think it's going to carry on for 2023. So energy. Obviously, these are just a couple of quotes that Yahoo has pulled up, but it's basically then it goes down to tech to remain kind of lagging in 2023. But it goes down and mentions financials. They're kind of saying not so much. Obviously, Canadian bank executives are preparing for. Obviously, it's going to be a tougher. We're all kind of thinking it's going to be a tougher economy out there. Obviously, higher interest rates, which we all know, and inflation really hitting in with consumer spending in the housing market. So if the banks aren't loaning as much money, they don't make as much money, even though they're making a bit more money on interest. But so the banks have kind of taken a hit, as you see this past year with the Canadian banks. So maybe some opportunity there. And then they talk about going on the defensive. So they're talking about possibly doing insurance, groceries, telecom, and utilities, because obviously in times get tough, consumers don't buy as much discretionary items, but people still have to, basically they still buy groceries, they still will keep their cell phone and internet subscriptions going, and they pay their utilities to heat and keep their houses warm. So that was kind of the more of the defensive stock. So Fortis, good dividend paying stock. It does mention some Rogers, and it doesn't actually mention Telus, but Telus is obviously one channel favorite. It's one that I'll continue to be investing in 2023 as well. So always interesting. So kind of, I think the money managers are kind of saying the same thing that the channel members and viewers are mentioning. So it's a good. I think we're on the right track with sticking with how those polls are going. And then one last page, which is kind of good news. Always try and find good news for people that are watching. Now, obviously, as always, let me know in the comments, what are you. I'll go back to the poll in a minute. If you haven't voted, go vote, and we'll see how the stream viewers have voted on this as well as after we get through this article. So 2023, Canada is set to outperform the US in equity markets. So that's good for us in Canada, that's for sure. It's they're talking about here. Let me go back to the article. Basically saying, the Canadian stocks actually did decent because we weigh heavily on energy already in the S&P, in the Canadian index. And the only one thing was Shopify. Obviously, they're saying here it did bring the market down. I never owned Shopify in any kind of individual share, but that was definitely tech, right? Tech got hit. But they're again talking about how the strong energy prices is going to favor the Canadian market going forward in 2023. So some good opportunity. I'm thinking 2023 opportunities for us. That's how I am. That's how I'm reading into all this. And you just be obviously chief strategist at BMO Capital Markets saying investors should be overweight Canadian in Canada heading into 2023. So we'll see. That was my plan from a while ago, is to build up my Canadian ETF BTC.Y. So I'm going to continue with that. Then I hopefully that will pay off, I think, in the long term here. So hopefully everybody is going to be better off at the end of the year. We'll have to really see what things do really pan out. That's the hard part. Let me remove that. It's really hard to know what's going to happen, but I think we can be optimistic that Canada with some energy will do okay. That's what I'm hoping. Zach. Hey, Zach, always good to have you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hopefully you had a good holiday time and back to investing. it's always a quiet day when the market is not open for articles and stuff. So those are the few predictions I had. If anybody else has any other predictions on what's kind of what they think is going to be a what's going to take off next year, or what's their also resolutions, I want to hear that. Let me know in the comments. It's always good. Keep the comments flowing. I will pull up that poll. You can obviously still, I won't end it, but let's just see. So if you predict the best returns 2023. So as the viewers, the voters of the live stream, energy sector is 70%. There we go. Financials 20%, technology 10. That's kind of how I kind of thought the entire poll on the community tab was going to go heavily, way more heavily on energy. But so that's kind of how it worked out. We might be into a leadership transition out of a traditional mega cap tech and into a new regime of leadership. Okay, interesting. Expand on that, MC. I know it's always hard in the comments what you're thinking there. So you're thinking that tech's not good. Well, yeah. You see, tech always it always leads when the interest rates are lower, right? With the growth stocks. We'll just have to see how it pans out. Obviously, I think with tech, there's, I mean, the big ones, right? Apple, Amazon. I count Amazon as a tech. It's general. I mean, you could almost kind of consider that a tech company for sure. It's Facebook. I mean, Facebook just got beaten down, but we'll have to see what pans out over the next. Well, we can, year is a prediction, but I mean, I don't think any kind of necessarily any of the big tech will be going away anytime soon necessarily, but hard to know. I read some Netflix into gaming, interesting, or more into gaming maybe. I know they do have some small little mobile games. I've seen that pop up on my Netflix, but I've never played them. I'm not really much of a mobile gamer, but I know they obviously have to look at ways to keep subscribers there and keep subscribers joining, right? If they don't keep the content fresh, because there's obviously a lot more competition for the streaming services now, right? There's so many of them. It's almost like everyone that, like I know Paramount has a streaming service, Disney has a streaming service, there's Amazon Prime has a streaming service, Netflix. So there's definitely lots of competition for sure with Netflix. So we'll have to see. There we go. Okay, so typically leaders of a cycle, not leaders of the next cycle. Anyone follow? Yeah. They have, like, obviously have Facebook, Meta, right? Big down. Apple's been there for a long time. We'll definitely have to see where things are going forward. I think Apple definitely needs, I think, I think we talked about it a little bit. I think last week we were talking about Apple a little bit, and I use Apple. I use for iMac. I don't use Apple phone. I've been a Mac person for ages, decades, and I've always had one. They need a new product, though. I think you can see it with their phone, but obviously phone sales. I think people are realizing they don't need to spend $1,500 or whatever on a new Apple phone every year when the improvements on it aren't that much more than the last one. I mean, even on Android phones, my phone is 2 years old now. My contract's up actually, and it's like I don't need a new phone. It still works as a phone, and they've obviously done some improvements with cameras and stuff, but again, they can only go so far with that before it kind of gets not really worth updating your phone. So Apple needs a new product. They did the watch, but they need something else. There's talk of metaverse virtual reality. Who knows what they're thinking? I think there's rumors of them actually developing a electric vehicle, but I don't follow them super closely in terms of rumors and stuff. They're obviously very tight-lipped with what they're developing all the time. It's NVIDIA, graphic cards, microchips, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and Tesla becoming the next mega cap, kind of tech, but maybe less traditional. Yeah, I mean, because Tesla has, all the AI they're developing, all that smart, all the autonomous driving they're developing. I could see that. It's interesting today. It'll be interesting what happens with Tesla tomorrow. After today, I believe they're announcing their deliveries for the last quarter coming out today. So that should be interesting to see. I don't think that comes out to about 9 o'clock though, 9 o'clock Pacific. Tesla is interesting. They're definitely, I think they're more than a car manufacturer. They're definitely, I would consider them a tech company. That seems to be why they've been getting hit. And obviously all the other stuff with Elon hanging around, maybe Twitter too much, that the investors are thinking. We'll have to see what rolls out with that in the future. I will still be adding to my Tesla, actually MC in the new year, the CDRs. I'll still be adding to that. I think as a long-term investment, it will pay off. I don't have a ton of my percentage of portfolio into it, but kind of dabble more so. But I'll still be adding into there slowly but surely, just to kind of hang on to it. And then 10, 15 years, we'll see what happens. We'll see what does happen with that one. But microchips, there we go. NVIDIA, yeah. Yeah, it's always kind of hard to know and predict what's going to be the next big tech thing, right? There's always one. I mean, 2021, 20 into 2022 Shopify was very popular, and I mean, I never owned any directly, but it went crazy. A lot of these ones, a lot of these tech ones, even like what are some of the ones like Peloton, a lot of the ones that went crazy during the pandemic have come right back down. So I guess it's hard to pick those ones that are going to be the ones that take off, right? Which is really it's really difficult to do. I'm going to see if I can search and find out when the Tesla announcement thing is today. I think it was, yeah, it's not out yet. Not out yet. Nope. Tech. Okay, this is interesting. It could be a theme of a tech innovation adjacent, renewable energy possibly, which is kind of an innovation adjacent. Yeah, I see. This is the thing. I mean, I have a fair bit of renewable in my portfolio, MC, as you know. I'm long term. I get, bullish on it. The hard part is it's still 10, 20 years out. I mean, before, there's just so many problems with energy, and there's problems with oil, everything in terms of infrastructure, right? And I mean, it's down. All my renewable stuff is down because I think everybody's shifted over to traditional types of energy, which is okay. That's fine. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with renewable. It's definitely, I think, a space to watch, but it's not going to be a short-term trade, 1 year trade kind of thing. I definitely, I think it's a long-term investment, like kind of everything I think I have in my portfolio. There's things that are in there that are expected to be probably more volatile in the short term. I mean, even going into the Bitcoin ETF I have, is down, but I think in the next 20 years that, it's really hard to know, but I think just not pay attention is the wrong word. It's 1 year is such a blip in 20, right? So if all my investments that I'm planning were kind of 20-year holds, so to speak, and that will carry forward. So it's kind of hard to know with 1 year for 2 years. I've been kind of almost going 2 years on my portfolio. It's just building right now. That's the thing. But when the thing with tech is, once we finally get our, once this ugly bear market is over, tech and anything kind of tech and innovation will take off. Again, it's figuring out what company that might be. It'll be interesting to see what's the next big thing, right? And whether that carries through with some of the ones now, coming back, and Meta, that kind of stuff. Upcoming renewable energy ideas or alternative energies, lithium. Yeah, but there are major players such as BEP, AQN, NPI, BLX. Yeah, I have BEP. I do want to add to BEP on my portfolio this year because it's I think it's down too much. I will be adding to that. I think there's time to be patient though, right? I think this is a good year to be patient as well, because I think we have time. It's just, I'm not trying to necessarily time anything, but I don't think we have to rush into anything either into 2023. I think there's going to be opportunity for a while to just take your time and, instead of timing markets, just have some time in it, take your time. I'm just going to do my slow weekly deposit carry through. And as I get some extra, if I have extra funds available, I'll put it into these other stocks and ETFs as I'm able to, in going forward. BEP is one of those that is in my portfolio. But we'll have to see how that pans out, right? That's the $1 million question and answer. This is the hardest thing this time. Is these predictions and what's gonna happen, right? That's the hard part. So in terms of other resolutions, I guess I can talk about. I've been wanting to put this out. I haven't put this out in my portfolio, but we'll catch MC. We'll get your question first. This is the thing. Okay, so hard to go wrong with dollar cost averaging. Yes, two that have done well in 2022 are worth looking at. ZLB. Those would be BMO ones, I believe. Let me look those up. Okay, ZLB. BMO low volatility Canadian ETF. Let's see what they hold. Materials. Oh, okay, financial. Okay, so it's ZLB. Lots of hydro. Also insurance. Loblaws. Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to bookmark that one, MC. Thanks for sharing that one. ZLU. I'm going to bookmark that. And ZLU. Oh, that's US one. Oh, okay, interesting. Holdings. So that's basically almost the same as, but consumer defensive, Johnson & Johnson, McDonald's, Domino's Pizza. Everybody buys pizza in a recession. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna bookmark those two. Thanks, MC. Those are some good ones to watch. If anybody's watching and has any suggestions or stuff they're watching, it's always kind of interesting because there's literally so many ETFs. I find it can be super confusing. It's like, what would you actually buy if you're looking for something different, right? That's the hard part. So they're not indexed based on low volume factor, but over a 5-year period they met or outperformed their comparable index. Good to know. The BMO has some decent ETFs actually. Another popular one is ZWC. Their dividend one is quite popular. I know that. Or that's a covered call one. Yeah, they have some good ones. And if I'm not mistaken, if you have BMO ETFs and a BMO, their investor line account, you can trade them for no fee, I believe. Hopefully I'm right on that. I think I've had someone mention that before. So if you have a BMO investor line account, that might be something to kind of look at. So there's 2 more for my watch list. Thank you. Now, I was talking just for sorry, and if your comments come up, I'll get to them. Believe me. But I just wanted to mention channel going forward in 2023. So we talked about a little bit at the very beginning. So I'm waiting for a new microphone. That's what I'm waiting for the stream, and we will have that hopefully soon. It's taking forever. I think it's somewhere in Texas still getting shipped. I had to get it off Amazon in the States because there's again, here we go on supply chain and stuff not around is. There was nothing in Canada, so I had to order it through the States. It will be here eventually, and so hopefully that will be coming soon. So we'll have a new microphone. Figuring out the background, we'll see with that one, and then we'll get set up. I'm working on a new system for the stream that I've downloaded, but you have to kind of build everything in terms of the layouts and everything like that. So but again, it's free, so I'm kind of working on that, kind of learning that. So that will be happening. And in terms of doing that going forward, resolutions for the year is to do live streams Monday to Friday. We're going to keep on that. Although this week on Wednesday, Thursday, I'll post on the community tab, but I'm doing a bit of traveling to go visit my parents for Christmas. Well, obviously after Christmas now, but I haven't seen them. So that will be for a couple days. So no live streams those days because I'm be staying with them. So I won't have any proper equipment there to do that. So taking a couple days off, but then going forward, we'll have it scheduled Monday to Friday, and then keep updating portfolios kind of more on the weekend. I'm going to slowly kind of not get away from doing the portfolio updates all the time, but more like every couple weeks, every month as dividends kind of come through to kind of go through. Because I do find these live streams they're more kind of a bit more informative, at least for me, and hopefully people watching too can kind of learn things. So they, other than just kind of sharing what my portfolio is doing, it's always good to hear about what other people are doing and what they're looking at. So I think we're definitely going to carry on with that. And the goal is to finally get monetized. That's just taking longer than expected, but the resolution for the year is to get monetized. It'll happen in 2023 for sure. It's just building up those watch hours and then subscribers. I want to try and get up to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So it's just over 11. It's like 1,150 as of right now. So I think with doing more live streams and getting out there more throughout the whole year, and I think once the subscribers will pick up once the bear market is over and more people get interested in investing, I think that will bring some more viewers, and the more the merrier. The more we can kind of learn from each other. That part is always great. So that's the resolutions for the channel, but it's just coming slowly but surely. So it's kind of fun. And then in terms of content and stuff, I mean, there's lots of interest still on the channel. I find from analytics now. I wouldn't necessarily consider everybody that's in the live stream or not. Like, I don't think we're beginners anymore, but we're still trying to learn what we can. And I've been noticing that a lot of the searches on the channel are more for beginner type stuff. So that's how people are obviously finding the channel and looking for that information, the subscribers. So trying to want to build more of that into some of the content to kind of keep things a little bit different in the new year as well. So on that note, if anybody has any kind of comments, now I don't really do, I'm not going to be doing any kind of like analysis, like stock, individual company analysis, stuff like that. I might do the odd video on one if I happen to buy a new one in my portfolio, or something like that. But that's not really my forte by any means. I don't think she's here today, but Candace does an awesome job over on Mountain Finance about like digging into the nitty gritty of these companies, and she does a far better job than I could. So I deflect everybody to go over there. And if anybody ever asks me in a comment about a certain company, I'll shoot her a note and a comment to say, here's a good one for you to do a deep dive, more of a deep dive in, because she's far better than me at getting that across. That's for sure. But that's so that's kind of the plan for the portfolio going forward. just carrying on. Part of the reason for not possibly sharing as much as the individual portfolio days as last year 2022 is because I'm basically going to be dollar cost averaging, so it's not going to necessarily be as, every week it's going to be almost the same. If I did a portfolio update, it's like, okay, I bought one share of this, I bought one share of PSA, I bought one VDY, and I put the rest into VFE. That's it. Like that's my year to start. That's what I see doing for the considerable future. And then there'll be the one-off, obviously, as dividends come through, reinvesting, and then as I get some possible extra funds, it will go into other things, which I would share, obviously. And as always, I share, if I do a purchase, I share them on the community tab, so everybody can kind of see what's happening that way. So don't have to do as many daily, weekly updates as going forward in the portfolio. Yeah. So that's my 2023. So I have one question for everybody that's watching, and what is going to be the first stock, or obviously market tomorrow? So if you're buying something tomorrow or this week, what's the first one you're going to buy? That's always interesting to hear for the first one for the new year of 2023. For me, again, I have to put the deposit over still, VDY, PSA, and then BFE. So there's kind of three. That's what I'm buying tomorrow. And a random guess at the bottom is March 2023. Yeah, I think you're kind of right. So previous bottoms were March 2020, March 2009, etc. Interesting. Okay. I think MC, I think like that. I think it's a good random guess. We're seeing inflation come down slowly, not as fast as possible, or not as fast as wanted. But I think by then, I think we're going to start to see a bit of a slowdown in the rate increases by then, right? The next Bank of Canada meeting is coming up. I think it's when is it? When is Bank of Canada in 2023? January 25th. So at the end of the month, I think we're going to see a slower bump up in January. I think we'll see an increase. It's not going to stop yet, but I think after that, I think you're kind of nailing it there. I'm on your page about taking a pause. It will really depend on what the numbers are, though, but I think we'll start to see. I think we'll start to see a bit of a pause by like February. So that makes sense with the bottom coming in at March. Good call. If anybody else has a random guess, we won't hold you to it, but feel free to put it out. MC's buying XEQT. There you go. Moonshot for the year is LTH.V. Now, obviously not financial advice for anybody. Sorry, what is it here? LTH.V. I gotta look this up, what it is. LTH.V. Oh, lithium. Okay, interesting. I'll put that on I'm gonna start this watch list of people's suggestions to kind of keep an eye on, just to kind of see what happens. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, you're always kind of my moonshot. I think last year MC was CMC. It was doing well for a while too. I should have sold. That's what I have to learn better with some of these things, is to just sell it, get rid of it. Although I did okay on Cineplex last year. I made a few dollars on that. I didn't have a ton of it, but at least I made some money because it's way down now. So that was good. That was my one good trade of the year. I get one. So. And WTR, BFE, VDY. There you go. WATR, that's a current water technologies. Interesting. These ones are always kind of interesting. I'm going to add that to the watch list as well, Terrain. What I'll do is I'm going to create a watch list of all some of these ones that all the community people that are watching or invested in or thinking of, and then we kind of pull it up and we'll check out the watch list every once in a while. That's kind of what we'll do kind of in the new year, just to see how things are doing, and do it that way. And that's exactly adjusting your rate. You nailed it. They won't bottom until rates flatten. But I think they're going to start to flatten. My random guess is I think by the um, um, I got like my prediction is to kind of slow down by March as well. Anyways, so we'll I think as we start to see these numbers come out, it'll start to kind of tell us a bit more on how what's going to happen in a year. But I can see a pause by kind of March. And you are September. Okay, there you go. We never hold anything against. We won't hold anything against anybody. But it might be right in the fall. Could be. And then it's like then a fall winter like go berserko, and maybe we'll get a Santa rally next year. Hard to know. And MC did. Oh, you go. Yeah. I should have had my stop losses set up. Learning experience, but yeah, the TSXV stuff is definitely. So it's like gambling basically. I'll just hang on to it as a learning experience. I mean, I have a couple $100. I think it was $175. So it's not like it's the end of the world. You don't want to lose money, but it's not like. So I'll hang on to it. We'll see what happens. It's one of those ones that something might happen with in the if I'm not I never put anything in that I can afford to, I don't want to say can't afford to lose, but I'll just hang on to it and see what happens at this point, to see what maybe what pans out. It was an interesting one I found, but didn't pay off. And those are the things when you take those risks, right? It's risk and reward. You just have to know when to, again, there you go, cut your losses. Yeah. See, it doesn't really, in terms of that, it doesn't necessarily make any sense for me to sell it off in my TFSA anyways. It's probably something I should have had more in my unregistered. So if I had some gains and stuff, I could write them off. But live and learn. This year, the recession will truly affect the retail investors. So when the majority of them sell out, then the bottom will finally hit. I think a lot of the retail has gone out, but that's just my kind of opinion. I think a lot of them already have, but you could be right. They've been like it's hard to say. It's hard to say what if we're actually close to. It's one of those things like with the recession. It's almost like, I mean, it hasn't been officially called yet. Our jobs are still very strong. Tech has been laying off, but they're always kind of first anyways, but nothing really else, knock on wood, yet. Like there's still lots of jobs. So we'll have to really see how that pans out. But I think, it's going to start to, stuff is going to start to bite. And I think we're seeing that now with interest rates. It takes it's such a lag to feel that pain. And before, as people's savings start to dry up, right? You carry on as at the status quo with your expenses and payments and everything else until you can't anymore. And obviously because people, with these rates gone up, I think it's up 400 basis points. So as people, like, for example, renewing into mortgages, or, I mean, I know car loans from reading on Twitter, like in the States especially, is car loans have, like, car sales have dropped off because the rates are more expensive now. People don't have the funds, right? So, and then obviously if you're renewing a mortgage, you're paying more money. So it takes time to go into to work its way into the system. And I think we're starting to just kind of see that now. And then people will start to get their Christmas bills, right? Once you get your Christmas credit card bills in, that's when I think a lot of people, that's when we start to feel the pain come January. So, but time will tell. So also guess March, April, because of the equity mark, is ahead of the economy. Yeah, if the economy starts picking up in Q3, Q4, then the stock market may bottom 6 to 9 months prior. Who knows? That's the thing. Who knows, right? But that's usually what happens, right? It's the market kind of leads. And we've seen. I mean, we've seen what S&P down 19%, 20%, call it. So maybe that's it. But think we have a bit more to grind. We'll grind flat. We'll be flat maybe for a while. Hard to know. We'll have to see. That's the whole prediction thing is like who knows, and we'll look back and go, oh, we saw that coming, but it's very hard to predict these things. And that's why I think back again, like dollar cost averaging, just not panicking over 1 year, because I think in the future we'll look at it. We'll look back. We'll pull up these live streams and look back and go, we wish we could have bought things at that price, right? And yeah, water is a penny. Water, I pulled that one up. Yeah, current water technologies. I have to look and see what they're actually doing terrain. But yeah, penny stock. Is it on the TSXV? Probably. Yeah. Have to see. Well, good luck with that one. It's always fun to have like one little moon shot, because if something does take off, you're laughing, right? A friend of mine, that was kind of her. She did really well. His wife, she did really well on Aritzia as her stock pick of the last couple of years. So it's always nice to hear when people get a good pick. That's exactly it. We're just like little fish swimming in the stream. Yeah, it's almost like out of our control for the most part. We just have to buy it or not buy it. But yeah, it's true. We're along for the ride. Is basically how it sums up. There we go. Well, it's about 1:45. I don't have to work today. It's nice. I don't have any emails popping in my inbox, which is nice. So it's been a fun stream. I appreciate everybody joining in on a holiday, taking your time out of your morning to talk about your predictions. Let's go one last time. I'm just going to go check out the poll before I close it off. So if you're watching and haven't voted on the poll, vote on the poll. The numbers have changed. I'll give you a couple minutes, and then I'll close off the poll, and we'll do a final recap of what the guess is for going forward. Hopefully we can be like those little fish that swim behind the huge. Yeah, you want to be behind the big whale, not in front. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I don't know. I think I look at the year. I think I look at this year of opportunity, looking at being a bit really diligent in investing and going through. I'm looking forward to this year, MC. I really am. As long as I can keep, as long as everybody keeps their jobs, and it'll be good. I mean, it's not going to be necessarily easy, but I think it will be, it will pay off in the long run to be kind of diligent on that. And I think I can kind of say I'm coming into 2023 in a kind of decent position. I'm not going to have my car payment as of February. So there's things like that are definitely going to help, which is nice. So if work and stuff is not as busy, I'm trying to like cut back as many expenses. It's funny. I had a friend email me yesterday, MC Talk, and they were doing their budget, and I'm like, awesome. So I actually had a spreadsheet that I sent them that has, if anybody wants, I should do a video on a budget, because I have a great spreadsheet that I acquired, and it breaks down everything. So that's for another episode. We'll talk about a budgeting spreadsheet, but it's if you actually do it's a real eye opener, because it includes a lot of categories it really breaks down the categories, so you kind of really know where your funds are going for investing. I'm trying this year to try and put sock away as much as I can into my investments. That's for sure. Carry forward. Okay, I'm going to close off the poll, and we'll get the replies if I can see it. There we go. So it's just posted in the comment. I wonder if I can pull that up on the stream. I don't think I can. Sometimes it takes a second to pop up on my end, but sometimes it just takes a bit for me to actually see the comments. Good question. Would I ever source, you see me think maybe a website or something like that, personal finance? No, probably not. There's a lot of people that do that already. MC, I don't want to spread myself too thin either. I wouldn't have the time to do it between obviously doing, I love jumping on these, but between this, my other YouTube channel, and work, I'm busy. I'm busy enough. So I've had a website before, and it's just too much. It's just too much work. I'd rather do a video on a. I could do a video on a spreadsheet and then post it and have a link, have it shared on on Dropbox for people to download. That's probably what I would do. I'm not interested in necessarily trying to sell it or anything like that. But yeah, it's a lot of work to do websites and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'll do that. I'll do a video on this, on the budget, because I think it's important. Definitely important. I don't think my poll showed up on my stream here. Let me go over to the other one. So here's the predictions. The results are in. So predictions from the live stream for 2023. Energy sector 58%. You'll see these obviously in there. I'm probably just repeating what you already saw. Financials 23%. Technology 17%. Healthcare 0. So total vote 17. I think everybody kind of got their vote in. So really appreciate it. There we go. So I guess the ones to watch, we'll see how these do going forward. Energy, financials is two of the big ones. Not really a big surprise there, that's for sure. There we go. We're over time. So I just want to take time again. Thanks for everybody for joining. If you aren't subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. If you haven't liked the stream, I got the banner here. Don't forget to like the stream. I should have had that up earlier, but on your way out, don't forget to hit a like. It definitely helps the channel out. And if you found this useful and it's your first time here, we do live streams Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Pacific time to about 9 o'clock, 8:45. And it would be great to have you join on. So thanks a lot, everybody. Oh, enjoy the rest of your holiday if you're off today. And we'll catch you. I'll get the next live stream posted later on today, and we'll catch you in the next one. And we're still ending with the fireplace for the new year, and we'll end with that. Thanks so much, everybody.